Welcome to all. Thank you for your interest in this presentation and for wanting to learn more about the work the Six-Town Regionalization Planning Board has been doing since the fall of 2019. My name is Deborah Potee, and I'm a concerned parent and citizen of the town of Northfield, and I'm representing the Six-Town Regionalization Planning Board. As a community member, I am concerned about the future of our schools, and so volunteered to be appointed to this board by the town moderator. The work of our board has been focused on gathering information and data to better understand the reasons for regionalizing two school districts, Pioneer Valley Regional School with Gil Montague, the focus of 7th through 12th grades. We then have worked to understand the benefits and challenges of combining districts, and again, focusing on what we know in terms of information and data. I will not be reading the slides, but highlighting salient points and will allow plenty of time for the slides to be read. The slideshow presentation is based on the work accomplished by the consultant groups, Massachusetts Association of Regional Schools, MARS, and the Abrahams Group. Information gathered from a series of information sessions with school administrators, teachers, and staff from both school districts, DESE, and our own research. As we move through the slideshow, please hold any questions you may have until the end. Some questions you may have might not be able to be answered in the moment, but we will do our best to address what we do know. We as a board have not been formed to make any decision, but to present information to the larger community based upon our work. We have been charged to make recommendations in the future, but now is a time for sharing information. Thank you. Over the past 3 years, we have met monthly with smaller subcommittees, including an Education and Finance Committee that met more often. The board has had very little turnover, which has helped build community and a sense of collective strengths, open-mindedness, and commitment to the goals of our work. An outcome of combining would be the doubling of the student population, which would automatically increase opportunities for all students. Based on 2021-22 data from DESE, PVRS has a population of 657 students in total, with 276 students in grades 7th through 12th, 153 in the high school, 123 in the middle school. Gil Montague has a population of 845 students total, with 376 students in grades 6 through 12, 184 in the high school, and 192 in the middle school. Pioneer graduated 23 seniors last year. Gil Montague graduated 36. This is a list of determined outcomes based upon larger numbers of students. These are guaranteed benefits of regionalizing. This is a list generated from meetings with school administrations and faculties from both districts that happened over this past spring of 2022. Both districts were invited to participate in sessions to share information about their respective schools and imagine what might happen with a merger. Combining districts would allow potentially for some greater community outreach and collaboration with outside partnerships. This would depend on vision, leadership, and effort to increase and expand what community partnerships already exist. Staffing, both at the administrative and faculty level, would have to stabilize, and a shared and supported vision for this larger district would have to be determined. Again, these outcomes could happen with a larger population, but might depend on what positions are allocated for funding and how departments are reconfigured. Combining districts based upon increase in population alone will bring stability to sports in terms of being able to field teams and perhaps expand opportunities. These outcomes, with combining districts, perhaps brought the greatest enthusiasm from the faculty participants in the spring forums. Currently, both school districts' teachers are experiencing teaching a subject in isolation with just one upper school English teacher or just one science teacher in the middle school. Having colleagues in the same subject area is a significant aspect of being a teacher for many reasons. Having a larger and more diverse faculty can strengthen the curriculum in many different ways, including strengthening teaching skills and deepening knowledge of subjects. This slide shows attending enrollment figures for the two districts. Attending enrollment is important because the number of students actually at the schools affects what programs can be offered. The solid lines show actual enrollments for the past 10 years. Over the period, Pioneer's attending enrollment has declined by 42%, and Gil-Montague's has declined by 17%. The dashed lines show projections done by the New England School Development Council, or NESDEC, in 2018, and the dotted lines show NESDEC projections done in 2021, in the middle of the COVID pandemic. As with all the following charts, a link to the Excel spreadsheet that it came from is shown at the bottom. This slide shows attending enrollment for the two high schools. The green line shows what enrollments would be if the two schools had been combined. On the financial side, we expect that there may be little or no financial savings. This is partly because we assume that the projected savings would be applied to enhancing the educational programming. A significant challenge is that we expect that a combined district would be held harmless, as Pioneer is now, meaning that increases in Chapter 70 state aid would likely be minimal. This slide shows foundation enrollments for the two districts. Foundation enrollment is important because the state uses that to calculate Chapter 70 aid. Again, the solid lines show actual enrollments for the past 10 years. Over the period, Pioneer's foundation enrollment has declined by 29%, and Gil-Montague's has declined by 9%. The dashed line shows projections done by the State Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, DESE, in 2020, and the dotted lines show DESE projections in 2021. We asked DESE why the 2021 projections show foundation enrollment remaining level, but we didn't get an answer. This slide shows foundation enrollments including Franklin County Technical School. Some people have speculated that FCTS has been a factor in declining enrollments in the district. This slide shows choice in, choice out comparisons for the two districts. Pioneer shows a net positive that has been declining over time. Gil-Montague shows a net deficit over time that has remained more or less constant. Here we have a comparison of actual assessments in the current configurations and what those might be in a new district using various calculation methods. These assume a combined district budget that equals the sum of the actual district budgets. They also assume that required local contributions, RLCs, would not change. The black bars show actual town assessments. The next four bars show what using attending or foundation enrollments in single year or rolling average might look like. The green bar shows what using RLC, which is a state's calculation of what towns are actually able to afford, might look like. It is important to note that the graphs are not done to the same scale. Montague, Bernardston, Northfield, and Gill show millions, while Leiden and Warwick show thousands. The STRPB has taken no position on a recommended assessment of calculation method. That will be one of the issues addressed if we get to the point of drafting a proposed regional agreement. This slide shows Chapter 70 aid for the two districts for the past 10 years, along with how much of it has been due to hold harmless. Pioneer has been in hold harmless for the entire period. Gil-Montague was in hold harmless for several years, but recently, except for FY22, has not been, and therefore has benefited from Chapter 78 increases. Over the period, Gilmontague's Chapter 78 has increased by 29%, while Pioneers has increased by 5%. These findings come from TransFinder, a transportation consultant group, and are based upon redesigning the routes to accommodate the combined districts. These determinations were based upon assessments of both facilities done by the Mars Group with help from the facilities managers. These are the challenges of combining districts. We list the ones that other districts that have done this type of regionalization have shared. There may be other challenges that are unknown right now. The goal in this presentation is to focus on what is known. Thank you for your good attention and for making the time to learn more about the work and findings of the Six-Town Regionalization Planning Board. We are grateful for your interest. Our work is ongoing with the goal of eventually making a recommendation to move forward or not. If we determine that regionalization is the better option, all 6 towns would then have to vote to regionalize.